Well, I'm intrigued enough about this entire mental health issue, the the sort of what is it called again? Concern trolling that has been done by a couple of people that I may have lost my mind and and that I'm sadly spiraling downward, and my mental health is in a dire condition. I've been giving that matter some thought of late, because it is an interesting question. How mentally healthy is it possible to be in a crazy world? Just to put it starkly, the world is insane. The world is nuts. The world is it's an upside down world. It's it's an inverted world. Good is bad and bad is good. In so many ways, the world has lost its mind, one could say, except the world hasn't really lost its mind. What has happened is largely due to the takeover of various people with various very bad ideas, and the promotion of those very bad ideas. That is what is mainly to blame for the world having gone mad. When people talk about, there's little kids taking to drag shows and blah blah blah, and that just shows the world's gone mad. Well, yes and no. I mean, what it shows is that the people who have taken over our culture are bad people with bad ideas who want to promote bad things. Just talking about how just sort of blaming it on a generalized insanity of the world doesn't really hold these people accountable the way that one should. But I don't want to go into a critique of the crazy world in this video. Instead, I want to just focus on the question: how mentally healthy can a person be when the world is crazy and is depressing and is upsetting and is just a nasty place. Now, I don't want to make the point. I don't want to overstate this point, but in order to clarify what I mean by what I'm saying here, let me take a hyperbolic example. Okay, let's say you go, you manage to go down to hell without dying, like Dante in the Inferno, and you come across one of the people who's been damned, and is in hell, and you say, would you say to that person, you know what, you seem really depressed. You know what, there's something about, I don't think your mental health is in the best condition that it could possibly be. I think you maybe should see someone to assist you in with your mental health issues. Would you say that to a person dwelling in hell? No, of course you wouldn't. I mean, you would expect somebody in hell to be sad, to be in despair, to be desperately unhappy, because that's what hell is. Whether it's really this realm of fire and unfathomable torture, or whether it just means separation from from God and from all that is good. Either way, it's torment for the person dwelling in hell, because there is no hope anymore. This metaphor is useful, by the way, whether or not you actually believe in hell. All you have to do is understand what hell is, how hell is defined, and how hell is understood. Now, is our world hell? Are we living in hell? No, we're not living in hell. There are certainly many hellish things about the world that we're living in right now, the times we're living in right now. There are also wonderful things that take place every day, and there are, dare I even say, there are heavenly people and places and experiences to be had. So you know, the whole issue of you know, going up to someone who is or accusing someone of being mentally ill, basically saying, you know, in some some sort of, you know, passive aggressive, pseudo friendly but actually hostile kind of circumstance, kind of like an intervention. I've never seen or experienced an intervention, you know, for people who are drug addicted or drunk, but I've never really cared for it. I've never cared for the idea of just surrounding a person and shouting things at him, and you know, it seems like manipulation to me. It seems like emotional manipulation. I mean, that's not denying that people have problems with alcoholism or drug addiction, but the whole intervention model just has never sat well with me. And I think that there's something about, you know, look, I'm concerned about you. You know, you seem to be losing it. You've had all these things happen in your life, and I've had things happen in my life that have been sad, but I don't pretend. And you know, I'm struggling to recover from, but I don't pretend that I have it worse than anybody else, or that I'm sadder or more have more reason to be depressed or melancholic, as I prefer to call it, than anyone else. But I do think there is something to be said for pointing out the state of the world. And, you know, especially if you're going through a period in your life where you don't, where there's a lot of deprivation. There's a lot of privation, which means about the same thing. Deprivation and privation. Those are basically synonyms. Meaning you don't have a lot to feel joyful about. You don't have a lot to make you happy. I'm not saying that about me, mind you, because I do have things that make me happy. I get an immense amount of joy from my children, for example. But, you know, in any case, I think that the whole you're mentally ill, you need help, that entire notion, and I haven't really thought about it this way before, but you know, all the drama that's been taking place recently, which I'm not going to reiterate here, but I'm just making a vague reference to it, but which has resulted in concern trolling. I don't know, maybe some of it's not concern, maybe some of it's just the plain old trolling. But it has the kind of look and feel of what we call concern trolling, where it's like, dude, you're slipping. You know, your wife left you, and now you believe in Pizzagate, and now you believe that Anne Heche didn't just die in an accident, or that there's strange circumstances to Anne Heche and her death, and now you believe, the 9/11 official story isn't has got a ton of holes in it. You know, dude, you're really slipping, as evidenced by your conspiracy theorist. You know, and that shows how you know you're mentally deteriorating. You're just falling apart. That's why you're believing in these crazy ideas. Okay. I don't. First of all, I mean that's all ad hominem from the very start. It's not really even worth discussing. It should be evident to everyone that that kind of to have that kind of to take that kind of approach is deeply disingenuous. Okay, but the question of mental health is still one that I want to consider. How mentally healthy are you supposed to be? In other words, if we define mental health as being happy and not being depressed, you know, leaving out the kind of the questions of, you know, chemical problems, schizophrenia and whatnot. Does it really make sense to be mentally healthy per se, in the sense of being, being happy, being fulfilled, being content? You know, it's great. Maybe it is possible, and it's great if there are people who have found this realm of, or this space whereby they can be apart from, detached from that which is that in the world, which is determined to make you crazy, you know, to put it a certain way. And I've this is at the heart of when I talk about shunning the black pill. You know, you don't want to just wake up in the morning, pick up your phone, and go read some black pill site about how in 5 years Charles Schwab and Bill Gates and the rest of them are just going to tighten their grip on the world, and we're all doomed to be their subjects. We're all going to live in pods and eat bugs, and that's the future, and there's nothing we can do about it. You know, I just think you should shun that kind of rhetoric, particularly in the age in which we live. So that's one way to become happier, to become less depressed, is to monitor what goes in and out, what goes in your ears, and what your eyes apprehend. To take control of your eyes and ears, to be aware that certain sources are not good for you, and are only going to cause you anguish, and you should avoid them. And that's not to say be a Pollyannic optimist or anything like that. Just, you know, don't swallow the black pill, but that makes you just think that you're going to be miserable all the time. Anything that you do that tries to help you get out of your misery is is just cope. Anyway, we're just returning to the whole question of, is it possible to be mentally healthy in a crazy world? You know, I would say that it's a struggle. It should be a struggle for anyone, except those who just aren't, who just have found a way to detach, or who just don't care. You know, it just doesn't make up part of their everyday, you know, mentality. They either don't care because I don't know, maybe because they're just not all there mentally and just not aware of these things. Or maybe, hopefully, there is a place where you can be intelligent and engaged, and yet at the same time detached from that which causes misery. So, you know, I think that I think, you know, when people concern troll about me, you know, it's something that, as far as mental health goes, I think that this is something that has far wider implications. You know, don't just look at me. I'm certainly part of it. I've got my stuff. I've got my issues. I've got my things. I've got things on my plate. But it's so many of us right now. And hopefully it's our collective desire, those of us who know the world is being pushed in a bad direction and who want to prevent that from happening. Hopefully, you know, there's enough of a collective desire to stop this from happening. Whether it's building parallel economies or parallel structures, you know, if all the institutions of the world are corrupt, well, you know, just like they did in the Eastern Bloc countries during the communist era, they just sort of, rather than trying to fight the Soviet, the oppressive Soviet megastructure, they just went around it and they did their own thing with their own people in their own societies. In other words, they created this organic alternative to the official, you know, the official on high, imposed from above ideology, which would make one as miserable if one were living in a Soviet satellite country or in the Soviet Union during, you know, before the fall of communism, as one probably feels today, as we in the West are under the shadow of neoliberal, globalistic, you know, disregard for human life, you know, however we want to title the ideology that they're trying to push on us. So mental health is a complicated issue, and it's something that I would say doesn't just involve me. You know, you can look at me if you want. You can make me the poster boy of mental unhealth if that somehow satisfies your your spirit of antipathy and your bilious desires. But I would suggest this is a much more broad issue, and that's how we should think about it. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the subject. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Talk to y'all soon.